Welcome back. Vaccine mandates are becoming more prevalent around the world and here in South Africa. A vaccine mandate is a requirement to be vaccinated to do certain things like travel, to be in a public space or attend an event like a concert. During his last address to the nation, President Cyril Ramaphosa said there was broad consensus around requiring vaccinations and a team would look at the implementation. Already some workplaces in South Africa, such as Discovery, for example, have announced vaccine mandates. Let's look at this from a legal perspective. Now we're joined by labour law specialist Natasha Moni. Natasha, thank you for being with us as always. We've seen some companies move already. Do you think this will fast become, firstly, the new norm in South Africa?
I think it will. And we have the Business Unity South Africa head, Casper Vadia, saying that he believes that it is the only thing that is going to assist us by best weaponizing against the virus, which is the vaccine. We have other medical reports saying that rapid mass vaccination has been isolated as the best strategy to return life to normalcy. We have no exact answers here. And I think that what we need to do is to put both the employee and the employer's rights into perspective and find a balance.
So looking at that balance, I mean, some people are against this. Are you seeing legal challenges coming in, or are those expected to come in thick and fast? And are companies actually starting to let people go if they don't want to get the jab?
Yes. You can challenge it, and your best opportunity of challenging it would be in terms of the Constitution, your right to life, belief, opinion, religion, and bodily or psychological integrity, and the security and control over your body. That then needs to be limited on what is the employer's right in terms of satisfying their obligations and their duties in the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and also the Employment Equity Act, and also for the Labour Relations Act. So it's a balancing act, and it's one that we need to get right. I think that possibly a challenge, an individual challenge, on the rights of religion and on the rights of bodily integrity, or it would do more serious damage to me if I received the vaccine, would possibly be something that would allow an employee to obtain an exemption from the employer. But let's look at it from the law, if we may, Francis.
Sure.
The law says that there is no vaccine, there's no mandatory vaccine rollout, and that may be looked at. NEDLAC has been considering it, but there is nothing in the pipeline yet to say that it is mandatory. So the employers are really on their own. And what is important for them to understand is that you cannot just roll out a mandatory vaccine without having done your homework. In other words, what does the Disaster Management Act say of you? It says that you need to ensure that the policies at the workplace are as if you've had a chemical spill. Do you have those policies in place? Are you ensuring that there is sanitizing, that there is taking of temperatures, that there are masks worn, and that your employees are socially distanced? Do these employees have to come to work, or can you accommodate them somewhere else, especially if those employees can legitimately obtain an exemption from the employer? You know, there are a lot of employees that say that this is my right. Yes, it is. And unfortunately, we need to limit it. Also, we need to understand that the employer is not asking for your medical status. Your employer, if they want you to be vaccinated, would be asking for your vaccination status. And there's a difference there. So for constitutional grounds, for instance, if you attempted to declare a dispute at the CCMA or at the Labour Court on Section 187(1)(f) of the LRA, and that's the unfair discrimination section, you would have to prove that your relationship with the employer was terminated based on unfair discrimination. Now, as long as the employer is consistent and correct and reasonable in its policy rollout for mandatory vaccination, it is going to be an uphill battle for you to prove. Unfortunately, the employer also has a right to its operational requirements. And if it is the inherent requirement of the job that you are at work, then the safest safeguard at the moment is to be vaccinated.
Yeah. And we need more legal precedents. You're saying there could be some interesting challenges coming up. But yes, if they do it fairly, then maybe in favour of the workplace. The Labour Department, at one stage releasing regulations, I think they've always taken a stance that if you can accommodate someone who doesn't want to get vaccinated, if they can work at home, then you should help them. From what you've heard, are workplaces taking that considered approach, just looking at the options first for those who are very anti?
For me, it's not about, in the research that I've done, because I don't want to give my own opinion on this. It's not fair. I do believe that there needs to be an application with regard to an exemption process. So why are we exempting you? And legitimately, you can only do that via the Constitution, to your bodily integrity, your security, and perhaps your religion. And I think that would possibly hold muster. But that is not that might not be a nationwide defense, and it possibly must be seen on a case-by-case basis. So the scenario that I would like to paint is the following: that everything is done, that there are accommodation is looked at. And then if you cannot accommodate that person and cannot assure the safety of that person, then there will be no other option but to look at a possible retrenchment or look at some form of dismissal process. And it's the unfortunate reality that we face.
Natasha, very quickly, we've already seen events where vaccines are required in South Africa, but if that becomes more widespread, it could have a huge impact. Political parties say they'll go to court. And just your opinion, please. We understand that you're the labour law expert, but do you think there could be a constitutional court challenge, and any ideas of how this could all end up?
We definitely need certainty. And if we're not going to get certainty from the government and their policy considerations and law, then the only place that you can actually get certainty from would possibly be the Constitutional Court or the High Courts on this matter. Most certainly the Constitutional Courts with regard to what the Constitution does and the rights that it upholds and the limitation clause. So, Francis, we need the law. We need the law, and we need someone to tell us what to do. But until then, I would caution everyone to listen to the argument and see whether or not there is a reason to accommodate and a reason to get that balance in a way to get everyone working again.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Natasha Moni, labour law specialist, looking at what is already happening in workplaces right now. And yes, we'll follow any legal challenges very closely when they do come.